Hi, I'm Reverend Sharon Ketchum here with you for a message for the week of June 14th. We are brought to you courtesy of the coronavirus, otherwise Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing would be meeting in person. Let's start out today by joining Daniel Nabin with one of the songs we often use when we do meet together, Up, Up, Up. Please feel free to sing along and clap away at home and just be part of it.
Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is moving ever upward. My feet are leaving the ground. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wondering the point of it all. My life is destined, hope for greatness. My soul has answered the call. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
Yes, let's feel our soul rising to that higher place. Because I'm going to talk to you about the elephant in the room. I'm not talking about this elephant behind me here. Maybe tip that up and you can see the big colored elephant. I like the elephant because that reminds me of Ganesh, the big trunk moving all the obstacles. But there's another elephant, this big gray one that keeps walking across in front of me for all these things. Yes. Well, just in case you're not acknowledging it yet, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, a lot of stuff. There's a pandemic, this worldwide pandemic. We're into, I don't know, month 3, month 4, whatever has been going on. Seems like forever. And also we've been through this murder of George Floyd. We've been through the protests going on, still going on all through the country. I think we're 2021 or something right now. These really powerful protests and all this stuff going on in the world has brought up a lot of stuff for me personally. And I'm sure it's brought up a lot of stuff for you too. And as I've thought about this, as I've contemplated the conditions of the world, and as I've raged against it, cried about it, tried to laugh about it, and just all the other gamut of emotions, I found one common thread. And that common thread is the elephant in the room, death. I mean, really, that's what all the energy is about, death and how to avoid it. And I think, what can I do so that somebody else doesn't die of the coronavirus? Or would I have done something that night to prevent the death of George Floyd when he was begging for his life? And then I get a little deeper and it goes, I wonder if I'm going to catch the coronavirus. And if I do, will I die from it? Or will I die because of something somebody else does? Maybe there's a protest going on and something happens, accidentally even, that causes me to die. I mean, these are stuff we all think about, but way back in the recesses of our mind, who wants to talk about their own death? Well, Rainer Marie Rilke wrote this beautiful little piece of poetry that love and death are the great gifts that are given to us. Mostly they are passed unopened. Well, I know that I could love more, but thinking about death as a gift, I don't know. Oh, there the sirens go by. Somebody may be dying right now. I don't know that I think that that's a gift. If you think about it, we do approach this elephant in the room. We handle it by, maybe we joke about it. If we have any fears at all, we're going to project it on death, because death is the bad guy. It's a real good scapegoat for anything. Quite frankly, we often try to sidestep it. And if at all possible, we're going to avoid it. This is not the thing that we want to do this afternoon or next week or next month, whatever. We just want to kind of pretend that big elephant isn't in the room. Excuse me. There's a story about a servant over in Baghdad who went to the marketplace. And when he went to the marketplace, he looked over and there was death. And death looked at him and waved. And so the servant immediately dropped everything. He ran back to his master's house and said, "Master, please let me borrow your horse for this evening. I need to get out of town, because when I was in the market, I saw death, and death made this menacing gesture towards me. I need to get away so I can live, continue to live. I'm going to drive out on the horse and go to the town of Samara." And the master certainly supported his servant because he loved his servant. He was a great worker. So later that afternoon, the master went to the market to pick up some of the things the servant hadn't. And he too saw Death standing there. And the master went up to Death and said, "What is it with you? Why did you make a threatening gesture to my servant today?" And Death looked at the master and said, "Well, I didn't make a threatening gesture. That was a gesture of surprise. I was so surprised to see your servant here because I have an appointment to meet him this evening in Samara." Yes, we all think we can cheat death some way that death just can't find us. When is our time? Our time will come. It's an experience we're all going to go through. In Zen Buddhism, there is a term I want to share with you. Let me go on here. It's called Shoji. And literally in English, it means birth, death. So this little tiny dash in between the two words, but connecting the two words. That the two words are separate but together, very much together. As soon as we commit to being born, we commit to dying. This is how the process of this earthly existence works. And when I look at that dash and that word, it reminds me of what we put on our gravestones, on our tombstones. We put the date of birth, the date of death, and then that little dash to mark all the stuff that happened in between, all the stuff that happened in our earthly existence. And sometimes I think when we think about death, think about this ending, It's like we think that death is something that happens to us at the end of this life journey. But the more I contemplate it, it really is that death is a companion with us on this life journey, that it's like a secret teacher that stays with us and helps us in our core values, helps us to evaluate, to make really good judgments about what we choose in life, what matters most. I mean, the process of death itself, it can be sad, it can be cruel, it can also be beautiful and mystical. Bottom line is death is hard work. The hard work we do at the end of a life that hopefully has been well lived. None of us get out of life alive. That's just what we agreed to when we came into this earthly existence. When I do a celebration of life service, I talk about death marking the closing of the door to this earthly existence, just as birth marked the opening of the door. Because life doesn't have an opposite called death. Life is eternal. There is no opposite to life. All there is these markations within this human's physical existence. And because life is impermanent, don't we make different decisions than if we were going to live forever? The very idea of impermanence gives us a guidance about how to live with ourselves and with each other. I also find that life is both precarious and precious. Life can change on a dime. The unexpected pops in, and it is precarious. It's dangerous. Sometimes it's exciting, but it's always changing. Nothing stays permanent, stays the same. And because of this, we know how quickly it can change. We come to understand how precious life is, to treat life as really that precious gift that has been given to us to soak all the juice of life out into ourselves. And in order to really drink in the fullness of life, death is a perfect companion to have. That silent companion that reminds us to live well. So then when it does come time to die, we do so without regret. We do so because we're ready. So the book that I've been reading to inspire for this series is a book called The 5 Invitations by Frank Ostaseski, which I'm probably saying wrong, so I'm just going to call him Frank from now on. And he, excuse me, he did his life work working with hospice. Hospice is a beautiful occupation or volunteer activity to sit with people as they're going through this death process, something that's different for all of us and very personal for all of us. And he learned so much by sitting with people at the end of their human existence. And so he wrote this book, The 5 Invitations, really to help us live life more fully. And, and I think about in my mother's lifetime, twice she died clinically. And she told me about one time, it was during surgery when her heart stopped beating, and she was floating above the operating table, and she saw everybody running around very frantically, working so hard. There was this crispness and urgency to everything as they were trying to bring her back to life. And as she floated above them, she was just trying to say to them, relax, it's okay. I'm feeling fine. I have no pain. I'm at ease. I'm at peace. You can just all relax. Just all relax. But those of us that are in the flesh have a little trouble relaxing as we see people starting to leave their physical body sometime. But the key thing here is to what death as a teacher can tell us about living life. So the 5 invitations we're going to be covering, the first one is don't wait. Welcome everything, push nothing away. Bring your whole self to the experience. Find a place of rest in the middle of things. And cultivate don't know mind. Don't know mind, because when we're teachable, there's just so much more for us to experience and to appreciate in life. Buddhist monks have a wonderful practice, if you will, to remind them of the impermanence of life. They build these beautiful sand mandalas. If you've ever seen them build it, several will be working on it, and it's totally made out of sand. Look at the intricacy of this picture. Totally made out of sand through a little pipe. And they actually even make this sand. They take these soft rocks and they kind of grind them, and it blows down a little funnel. So they use it like a paintbrush with sand coming out, if you will, to make these pictures. And back in the 90s, the Dalai Lama was making a visit to San Francisco, and the monks that lived there made this beautiful mandala. And the mandala is made that it's always done in public so people can watch it. Anyway, in the United States, it's done in public. And then they put a rope around it so people can view this masterpiece. And about the second day that it was on display, this woman broke through the ropes that were surrounding it and ran through it and totally destroyed the artwork. And as she was taken away, everybody was so upset and so mortified that this beautiful thing was destroyed. But the monks were unperturbed because, you see, in a few days, this was going to be destroyed. The creation of Mandela is about the creation and the destruction that is all part of the whole process. So at the end of a week or 10 days, they brush all the sand together, they put it into an urn and dump it into a water body, usually a river. As a reminder that life is continually flowing, continually changing. The saying, we never step into the same river twice. So as we move through our impermanent life process, as we become our own Mandela, our life is about creation and destruction, the beginning and the end. This is our little dash that we're living. If we take on an attitude of don't wait, that really is a pathway to fulfilling our life, to doing it now. And I find too, when we do that now, we may see some new things we could do that we didn't even know until we did that thing that we didn't wait on. But also, don't wait is an antidote to regret. We will end our life not with regrets, but with that big sense of fulfillment, that satisfaction of having lived a life well, lived it the way that we wanted to. And sometimes we think we can wear wait as almost a badge of banner, that we have patience. We can wait until things change. We can wait until it's the right time. But patience too many times implies that we're waiting for the outer circumstances to change. We're waiting for the world to get perfect, the conditions to get perfect, and then we may take the risk, and then we may reach out, and then we may, whatever that is. It might be better to have a pride in a sense of consistency, that whatever the outer conditions, that we still are who we are, that we still do those things that we do, and we do them with a full heart, with a full sense of life, with a full sense of joy. There's a quote that I like to share with you by Shoji. She wrote, "Whatever we have done with our lives makes us what we are when we die. Whatever we have done with our lives makes us what we are when we die. And everything, absolutely everything counts. Everything. Absolutely everything counts." So if we are waiting to do the thing that is ours to do, that counts. If we don't wait and go ahead and do it, even if we do it wrong, even if we make a mistake, even if we decide, that was not the best thing to do, we've done it, it's over, and we move on. It's a life that progresses. And what a wonderful thing to count, to know that we are always moving forward in life. Not about achieving, but about living it, always soaking it in, feeling that sense of gratitude, of appreciation for this experience. I want to give you a guarantee about life right now. I guarantee you that you have 6 minutes to live. 6 minutes. Yep, I guarantee you. Because that's how long the physical dying process takes for the life to go out of all the organs and the cells of our body, the life to go out of our brain, just all the physicalness of it. It's 6 minutes. So in truth, at any time in life, we only know that we're guaranteed 6 more minutes. So why wait? Don't wait. Our final steps, that's the last 6 minutes. And however we're going to make our transition, sometimes it's fast, an accent, something just unexpected. And sometimes it's a slow process. And in the slow process, and think of that as slow-mo, that it slows down so we can see the process of really what happens in that last 6 minutes, that we are very attuned to the process that happens in nature. Our bodies are solid, like solid ground. But ground, even the biggest mountains, wear away as they dissolve into water. And so to us in the dying process, our bodies become weaker, and the hardness of it softens into more of that liquid, that ease. And just like in nature, water eventually dissolves into the air, so too with this physical body. Bit by bit, we dehydrate. The water leaves us and goes into the air. And the air dissolves into space. If you go to the outer edges of our atmosphere, it then goes into space, into that supposed vacuum. So too with us, when we take our last breath, where do we go? But into that space that becomes consciousness. Whether it's nature and a tree dying, or whether it's a human making its transition from that human experience into one of spirit. It's a mystical experience that becomes richer. We remember that this is what is waiting for us, and we get to live that dash to its fullest. I heard said the other day that we are all in retrograde right now. You know, Mercury's in retrograde. That's when things are going wrong. Things are kind of wonky. Internet services wonky. Our lives are wonky. Things just don't. Not that they're bad. They're just wonky. Things don't work smoothly and in order. And it's really kind of good. I like thinking of myself as in retrograde because it reminds me to be vulnerable. We know we're vulnerable physically right now. With the coronavirus, there's a certain vulnerability that we're reminded of every time we go out, every time we meet with other people. And we're also vulnerably consciously, because we are taking in new ideas. We are looking at new ways of doing things. We are in that constant impermanence of change of our thoughts and our being. And we can embrace this as impermanence as part of our true nature. Do you know how much closer we get to our true nature of being one with everything around us? Those flowers that are blooming this week will not be there next. Just like a couple of weeks ago, the daffodils were up, the irises were up, and they're all gone. And they'll come back again next year. So too with us. We are never stepping into that same river twice. We are not the same river twice in that same position. We are constantly evolving. We are constantly being life expressed. So learning to accept change, oh, I don't know, for me, it's one of those big challenges. I deal with it all the time. Just whenever I get comfortable, get a routine, things change, and it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of energy. Things around us change. And we are ever changing. That's a big thing to accept about ourselves. We are not the consistent thing we may like to think ourselves as. Our thoughts change, our feelings change. What about our attitudes and beliefs? We're growing through a cultural evolution right now as we really look to move past the racism of the past into understanding and celebrating the diversity of this incredible expression of God in all these different shapes and sizes and colors, if you will. And even our identities change. I mean, think about it. One time we identified as a toddler, or as a middle school kid, or as a teenager, or as a brother, or a mother, or a teacher. Our identities are constantly changing. So it's only a misperception we hold about ourselves that we are the consistency in this world. No, we are the change in this world. And the beauty of acknowledging and owning our changelingness is that it allows us to have true empathy with other people as things change in their life. We appreciate the transient nature, day to day, of living. And that helps us to understand how we all are connected. We are all part, not on the spider web, but we are all part of that web that is pressure on one area moves the other. We are part of that oneness. You know, some hospitals, when a baby is born, whether it was cesarean, a difficult birth, or an easy birth, they will play a little bit of Brahms' lullaby. It goes all through the hospital. And it's delightful because people stop and, yeah, you just know there was a new life brought into the world. And, you know, everybody's smiling, just has that little warm fuzzy. Might be for a second, it might be for several minutes, whatever. It's just a, excuse me, a wonderful feeling of hope. And the other process I love that they have in the hospitals is when people with cancer go through chemo, when they do the last chemo treatment, there's often a gong there, and they get to go up and ring the gong, saying that they have finished that full treatment of chemo and they're still standing. And I hear that gong and it brings tears of joy to my eyes, knowing that they have overcome, knowing the strength that it took them to get there, knowing that they've completed it. And whether it is the Brahms lullaby or that gong, that chemo gong, there's something about those sounds that just bring that wonderful feeling of hope to your heart, just that kind of uplifts you. And philosophers, when they talk about hope, there's been some discussion, shall we say, asking what is hope? Is it an emotion? Is it a belief? Is it a conscious choice? Or maybe it's kind of a mixture of all three. A hope, I think, is so different than expectation. Expectation says, this is the outcome that I anticipate. This is how it's supposed to work out. However, hope is kind of an optimizing force that's saying, I don't necessarily know the actual answer, but I know that it's going to be better than what it is right now. I know that it's going to lift me up. In fact, I sometimes wonder which of our 12 powers or 12 faculties combine to lift us up in that sense of hope. Pretty sure imagination is in there because we can see in our minds or in our hearts that whatever is going to be manifest is not what we're seeing now, that we can imagine something different, that things can change. Maybe we activate that idea of strength within us, or zeal, this enthusiasm, or maybe the power of life itself to bring together hope into our life, to really become that imaginative daring going forward in life. Brahms' lullaby, or the sound of the gong. Of course, the question, if this invitation is to don't wait, what are you waiting on? Well, over here with my little frog Buddha, I have this gold box that I keep in my office that Lesya Baczynski gave me. And inside of it, so it's not just a box, inside of it is this beautiful pen. It has a dragon on it. It's very hefty. It's very special. And at the end, screws off, not even pull off top. And when she gave this to me, I said, I'm going to wait to use this until we get moved into the new building. And the first thing I sign in there, I want to use the new pen, this wonderful, beautiful pen. I'm going to save it. I'm going to wait until we are completed in the process that we're in right now. And you know what? No, it's not about waiting. It's not about being patient going through the process. It's about doing it now. This is a representation of empowerment. So why wouldn't I use it now to write the next prayer, to write that thank you letter, to write a note of love or caring to somebody? I'm not going to wait. I'm going to start using this pen now, knowing that, yeah, it's okay to have the power now. Things don't have to be perfect. It's okay to have the hope and the joy now. The conditions outside of me don't have to change for me to take the joy in using this very beautiful gift. So what are you waiting for? A lot of times we wait to express love. Well, they know I love them, of course. You know, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this for them down the road or that for them down the road. One of the other things we often wait about is self-care. I'm going to start exercising when? I'm going to begin a daily meditation when? I'm going to, you fill in the blank. You know what you're not doing to take care of yourself. That part of you really wants to do to take care of yourself. You want to, but for some reason you've just put it off. And probably, I think one of the biggest things I put off is celebrating. We don't celebrate enough. And granted, We can't celebrate the way we used to celebrate physically right now, but there are other ways to do it. In fact, the fact that we can't gather in our usual routines really calls on us to be imaginative and doing fabulous things for each other. Just wonderful. I think of the graduations this year of our students. They'll remember them forever. There have been signposts out on roads. There have been things on television shows. So these graduations would have gone unnoticed, even locally. And now they've gotten so much attention. We've really raised up to celebrate it. Just to, yeah, celebrate now. Find a way. Use your imagination. Leave that note on your neighbor's stoop or a basket of fruit or whatever it might be. Don't wait. Just do it now. And so as a spiritual practice for this week, I am going to suggest that one of the big things not to wait on is forgiveness. Don't wait to forgive. Sometimes we think they don't deserve it yet. Trust me, they do. You're the only one holding on to that poison of unforgiveness. And the very act of forgiving, I think, fulfills those other three key things that we sometimes wait on. When we forgive, it means we're expressing the love that we are. When we forgive, we're taking care of ourselves. Yes, we're getting that off of our heart, releasing all those regrets, those should-haves from before. And to forgive really is about celebrating the love of our oneness of all humanity. Well, speaking of celebrating, let's not wait to celebrate our prosperity. And first of all, gratitude again. I am so appreciative, and the board is so appreciative of the continued support we have from each and every one of you. We certainly have the financial support, we have the prayer support, we have the connecting support, even though we're connecting in different ways. And in this quarter too, 20% of our tithe does go to our Congregants' Choice Haven House to help them in the work that they do. So in this time of not waiting to celebrate our prosperity, I invite each of us to take that big basket that our ability to receive. And knowing that as we receive, we also give, that it's a continuing flow, and become conscious and grateful for the many things that are flowing into our lives. The unexpected good, the financial gifts, the love, the friendship, even the unexpected, incredible sunset, which Lansing has been so gifted with the last few days, something about rain and sunsets and sunrises. And as we open our hearts to really celebrate that fullness, let us affirm together that divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. And so it is. Amen. Unity's on demand. You can watch any of our 3 segments on Facebook, on YouTube, or on our website. And if you're watching this on Sunday, June 14th, at 10:30, join us for a Zoom fellowship time. And at noon on Sunday, June 14th, you can join our outreach and social team meeting so we can see what we can plan together in this Zoomy world, if you will. Right now, we're going to close with our normal closing song, I Choose Love. I invite you to choose it.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one sun. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose